Hey there, it's Steve from Serious Keto, and this is the Not So Serious Keto video podcast. Welcome to March. And because it is a new month, we have a new batch for the 24 in 21. So if you're new to the podcast, if you haven't been watching it so far this year, 24 in 21 was my idea for, instead of having one big New Year's resolution that you don't keep, why not each month take two things? One thing you would like to start doing, a good habit that you would like to add, and one thing that you would like to remove, which could be a bad habit. It could be just some form of clutter in your life, whether that's physical or emotional or spiritual or whatever it is. But getting rid of something that isn't adding any value to your life, and worse, could be taking away time, money, and energy. Now, the notion isn't that you just do it for 1 month and then stop, but rather that by doing it for a month, you will have created for yourself a habit. And I think I've done pretty well so far. January was don't place blame. That was my get rid of something negative. And my positive was to do strength training, some sort, some amount, every single day. Simultaneously, I've been reading Atomic Habits. And one of the things that the author, I think his name is James Clear, one of the things that he says is it doesn't matter if your habit is perfect on any given day, so long as you're doing it. So if there's a day that I'm not feeling super awesome, not really motivated to do strength training, I'll still, drop down onto the floor and knock out 20 push-ups. So at least I've got some consistency. And so far, January habits, they stuck through February, still not placing blame. Still, I think I've only missed this year 3 days of strength training. So pretty good there. I actually just had to stop the video there and look up what the thing I added for February was. Clearly it's become a completely subconscious habit, I guess. But the thing that I'm adding, or have added, is taking a cold shower every morning. I'm not up to the whole Wim Hof, get in a bucket of ice water sort of thing yet, but I don't do any hot water at all. I mean, I turn it on to cold and I get right in and I rush in, and it was not awesome initially, but now it's exhilarating. I actually, as crazy as this sounds, I look forward to it. Now I believe that I have seen a mild decrease in my resting heart rate. I'm going to need more than a month worth of data, though, to really say that this cold shower thing has changed my resting heart rate, which Wim Hof claims it does because supposedly your vascular system becomes more efficient as a result. My negative that I got rid of was, for the first time in my life, I've gone now 28 days without biting my fingernails. Now, I'm not going to show them off right now, but you'll see them in videos. Occasionally, one of them will take some damage. I was doing something on Courtney's car, and a fingernail caught and it kind of chipped or tore or something. I had to file it down. Had another one that got damaged doing some plumbing, but no biting has occurred. And I'm thinking maybe as a birthday present for myself, I may actually go out and have my first ever manicure. And then I think I'll be really proud of my fingernails, and that should help reinforce the whole not biting them thing. So in terms of March, my add and subtract. Well, my add is going to be doing planks on this Stealth Your Core board. So I don't know if you've seen ads for this, like on Instagram, Facebook, any sort of news feed. I get ads for this Stealth Core board constantly. And I gave in. I decided I'll do it. I'll try it for 30 days. I'll record a review video of it, some before and after pictures. And so that's what I'm doing. That's my positive, is the Stealth Core board, doing planks. And for the negative, I'm going to do some decluttering. Every day I will pick something, whether it's a desk drawer, a cabinet, a shelf, a bookshelf, some corner of a storage area, and clear some stuff out. Determine, do I throw something away? Do I recycle it? Do I give it away? Do I give it to charity? What? But just start to declutter. And this was something I wanted to do back in January, but I kind of prioritized, and I figured the first thing I wanted to do was stop placing blame on people. And the second thing I wanted to do was really, improve my nails. So check mark, Now time to move on with the decluttering. And as with the last 2 months, I would love to hear how you've been doing with this. Have you been successful? And what are you going to do for March? Let me know down in the comments below. And on the subject of comments, I've had a number of viewers ask me to continue my little YouTube behind the scenes series and talk about comments. And the way that I'm going to talk about them is specifically from the perspective of a content creator, so you can kind of see behind the curtain. Now, I'm able to see comments a couple of different ways. There is first what's called the YouTube Studio, and that's basically, it's the control panel, essentially, for everything a content creator does. And there's a section of it called comments. And what it does is it's just a stream of all comments that your channel gets, and they come in chronological order. So if you left a comment on a video that I did a year ago, but you left it 5 minutes ago, I'm going to see that comment. It's going to show up 5 minutes ago in my comment feed. So some people have wondered why or how I saw comments that they left on a video that I recorded a year ago or more. And this is the reason. It's not that I'm actively going back into my old videos to look for comments so that I can reply to them. So the takeaway from that is, if you're ever debating whether or not to leave a comment, whether it's for me or for another channel, but it's an old video and you're thinking, they'll probably never see it, they'll see it. Whether they answer it or not, I don't know, but they will definitely see it. The other way that I see comments is in the straight up YouTube app or straight up YouTube webpage outside of the content creator portal. And it shows up on the little bell up in the corner of the screen, same as anybody else. And those show up not nearly as often as what shows up in the comment stream. And I'm not exactly sure what the rhyme or reason is, but I would say maybe 10% of the comments that I get show up as a notification. I think if someone replies directly to me, that shows up, because it puts my name in front. It says @SeriousKeto or +SeriousKeto, and then their comment. So maybe that's the reason I get flagged. But I don't see those nearly as often. And lots of times when I then try and click on them or go into them, they disappear. So I don't know what that's all about. Now, there's also a lot of comments that I know I don't see. And I don't see them for a couple of reasons. One is if you are trying to say something to me, but you do it replying to someone else's comment, that does not show up in my comment feed. That, I just have to get lucky and stumble on at some point. Maybe I'm scrolling through and I see that somebody wrote a comment and there's 4 replies to it, and I don't think any of them were mine, and I go in and I see that someone commented to me underneath someone else's comment. So I don't generally see those unless I get lucky and go looking for them. I may also not see a comment just because some days I get a lot of comments, and it's just scrolling through screens and screens of comments. I kid you not, there are days when I get 500 comments, and it's just, you're going through them as fast as you can. You want to try and acknowledge people, you want to try and answer questions or congratulate people or whatever it may be, and I miss some. It happens that way. But I really put in an honest effort. In fact, maybe too much. Maybe it's borderline obsessive, but to get out and to read all the comments. I figure you took the time to write it. I should take some time to read it. And then, I'll give it a thumbs up. I'll give it a heart. I'll give it a reply. Maybe I'll give one of those things. Maybe I'll give all 3 of those things. Sometimes I don't. Sometimes there is a comment that I feel sort of ambivalent about. Maybe it's something I don't really agree with, but I don't disagree with enough that I want to get into an internet argument. Maybe it's a comment that strikes me as sort of self-righteous or dogmatic. And to me, I'd rather just kind of leave those alone, not engage again. Or it could just be a comment that kind of strikes me as controversial, the sort of thing that probably half of my viewers will agree with and half won't. And really, for the most part, if it's something like that, it's not really what this channel is all about. So I prefer to just leave those alone. Another thing I might not reply to is if it's a question that's been asked dozens of times already, or something that I've already put in the pinned first comment or in the description, or someone says, what are the macros on this? Well, I always link to the printable recipe with the macros. So to me, I'm not going to go and look up the recipe so that I can tell that person what the macros are. They can use the link and go look it up. And sometimes it's the phrasing too. Someone may want to know the macros, but they'll put in all caps, macros, question mark, question mark, question mark, or something like that, which just seems a little bit abrasive to me. So I think those are really the main reasons why I wouldn't respond to a comment or potentially, give it a heart. If it's not something that bothers me, I'll probably still just give it a like, just to, boost it up in the comments so other people can see it. But probably the biggest reason, if I didn't reply or didn't give a heart or didn't give a thumbs up, is I just didn't see your comment because I got a lot that day, or I was busy doing something else or distracted. So try not to take offense ever if I don't reply to you or give you a heart. In last week's podcast, I also did a review of Sola bread, which did not treat me well. I got a number of replies from people that said they had some Sola bread that was different. It had a lower carb count, had different ingredients. And then I had a viewer actually send me a link to the Sola website, which I'll include down in the description below if you want to check it out, if you're at all curious. But apparently Sola has reformulated their bread. It's down from, I think, 4 or 5 net grams of carbs down to 2. The slices are bigger. They've removed a number of these sketchy ingredients, including, thankfully, the soybean oil. Now, there's still some stuff in there that keto purists or people that have issues with wheat are going to object to. But now if I see that bread, if I see the new version, I'll give Sola another try, just to be fair. But right now, I'm going to go to commercial. So last week, I didn't have a cooking video. I had 2 review videos. And don't panic. That's not what this channel is turning into. At most, I really want us to stay at 1 review max per week. I'd love to do more cooking videos, but the challenge with that is I want to make sure that I've got a good recipe, something I can replicate, something I'm proud of, something that I hope that you can replicate with minimum effort. And that takes some testing. That mug cake fail video Courtney and I did, that's mostly what happens in the kitchen, is failures. I would say about half the time, my first crack at any given recipe that's in my brain doesn't turn out anywhere near what I expected. Most of the times, though, I learn from it, and maybe the second time it comes out right. But then I still want to make it one more time just to make sure it wasn't a fluke. Coupled with that is this sense of smell thing that I've had going on here with the cigarette smell. I thought last week that I was better. Now it seems to kind of come and go. Sometimes I get cigarette smoke. Sometimes I get sort of a cardboard sort of a smell. Sometimes I smell great. And when I do smell great, that is truly, truly wonderful. When you open up a bag of coffee and just stick your nose right down in there and take a big whiff, oh, love it. But there have been other days where I go to smell the coffee and I can't smell coffee. I have also found that my sense of taste has been periodically unreliable. And I'm sure they're interrelated. Now, many of you have told me that you've experienced or are experiencing the same thing and want to know if I figure it out. I have a strong suspicion that mine is COVID related or post-COVID related. I've been reading a number of different articles, and apparently COVID can damage the olfactory nerve. On the positive side, the olfactory nerve can heal and regrow, regenerate. But similar to like physical therapy, you kind of got to do smell therapy. And I think that's where those little inhalers were helping me out. But as I was reading up on the whole smell retraining, it seems that there's sort of 4 smells that you should try and smell daily or multiple times per day to start retraining your sense of smell, regenerating your olfactory nerve. And those are something floral, like roses, something citrus, like lemons or limes, some sort of spice, like cloves, and eucalyptus. Interestingly, the same day I read that article, I got a gift package from one of my viewers, thank you, JW, who sent me some essential oils that he didn't want. And fortunately, everything that I need to smell potentially is in there. Not roses, it's actually lavender, but it's still a flower. So I'm going to go through and start smelling these multiple times per day. Maybe make it sort of a game, with my wife. She can give me a bottle, without telling me what it is, without showing me the label, and I'll sniff and see if I can identify it. But I'm going to try that approach and see how it works. Because not being able to smell or taste properly makes it kind of hard to run a cooking channel. And that's also going to dictate, in a way, sort of my shooting schedule. If I have a day where I can smell really well and my taste buds seem on point, then that's going to be a day I'm going to knock out a video. And hopefully it will allow me to continue the regular cadence of videos that I've been doing. Monday podcast, Wednesday potentially review or cooking. Usually review though, because I've got a lot of those backlogged. And then Friday, the cooking video. So if you were concerned that suddenly I'm becoming all about reviews and not about cooking, that's not the case. Hopefully I have assuaged that concern. You'd probably be amazed if you knew how many reviews I don't do, how many companies contact me, they want to send me product, they want me to review it, or they want me to feature it in one of my videos. And I tell the vast majority of them no. And maybe I'll save that as a topic for next week. Kind of talk about some of the companies that contact me, their methods, their approach, and so on. So to kind of segue off of the topic of reviews, I want to talk about swimming in your own lane. It's a metaphor I like, and probably because Connor was a swimmer and I went to no shortage of swim meets. But to me, I think that a channel runs the risk of diluting itself if it tries to do too much or strays too far off of message. And, there have been times when I've felt almost dangerously close to that with Serious Keto. Now, I don't see an issue reviewing keto products, but as I get into things like, say, the Oura ring, which I'm going to review this Wednesday, to me, that's kind of falling a little bit outside of what I wanted Serious Keto to be. I wanted Serious Keto to really be mostly focused on the food. And then, the podcast started and that just kind of took off. So that's going to stick around too. But things like the Oura ring, things like life hacks, these are things that I had in mind for another channel that I was going to start called Lean Body Mind. And I've registered the URL and the trademark for that. And that's really what that was supposed to be about. So whether it was something about the Oura ring or earthing or general health and fitness that maybe is not related to keto. So Lean Body Mind was or will be a channel that is separate from keto. If there's anything kitchen or cooking related in it, it's going to be something that would be applicable to anybody, not just someone that's doing keto or low carb or carnivore. And it would have anything that I could come up with related to just being more efficient, more effective in your life. That's what Lean Body Mind was supposed to be all about. And periodically, I find myself getting dangerously close to that sometimes on this channel. I try to swim in my lane, but there may be some times when I'm running right up against that guardrail until I eventually get Lean Body Mind kicked off, which I hope happens at some point this year. First, I need to get Serious Keto up to the point that it's financially stable for me. And I guess the reason I'm telling you all of this is just because I know that sometimes when there's a channel that you enjoy and you start to feel them, you get the sense that they're veering off maybe into a different direction. I just want you to know there's not going to be any veering off. This is a channel about keto for people who like to cook and for people that approach keto with sort of a sense of realism and sensibility that says that you can't always be perfect and it's not a religion. So that's Serious Keto. That's what I am. That's what I'll continue to be. And now for this week's fat pick. Right over here. This was, probably 10, 12 years ago. Probably more like 12 years ago. We went to Disney. And I apologize that it's sort of a low resolution picture. It was dark and it was with the iPhone. But look at that neck. I mean, I don't know that I have a chin. I think it just goes chin or mouth down to chest. And the reason that I decided to show this picture is I've noticed in a couple of the review videos lately with Courtney, where I'm turning to face her and you get the profile, that I still have got a lot of sort of remaining post weight loss skin down here. Just, I guess that's what happens. Same sort of around my belly. There's still some extra stuff down there just because you get all puffed up for 20 plus years. That skin just doesn't go back to normal, real fast. if at all, especially if you're over 50. So, I don't know. If anybody knows of a way to tighten up, get rid of this extra skin stuff, if you know of an exercise or a product or anything like that, I'd love to hear about it. Let me know down in the comments below. Oh, I will say facelift, not in the serious keto budget. In terms of last week's little special guest back on the stool, a couple of you got it. Rocket Raccoon. I know it's a little bit tougher to see, now that I've got this new lens and the depth of field has kind of changed. Things in the back are a little bit blurry, but a couple of you got it from Guardians of the Galaxy right here. Quick little family update before we close things up. Courtney, fortunately, made it through reception and into basic training a lot faster than Connor did. She was only in reception for, I think, 3 or 4 days. So she is now in basic training. We've got her address. We've already sent her her first letter, and it'll be exciting when we start getting letters from her. Connor is going to be home in 10 days. And sorry, I didn't mean, this is not sad crying. I've missed him so much. And I'm really, 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 really looking forward to him being home. Okay, sorry, I didn't mean for that to happen, but I'm a big softie, and I really miss my boy. And I'm looking forward to him being home with his boy. And I'm super duper excited that that's coming up. But in the meanwhile, without Courtney here, without Connor here, I'm kind of running low on taste testers. But I think I've got one coming up this Friday with Colton. So stay tuned for that. And with that, I'm going to end this podcast. As always, thanks for watching or listening. Hail to the king, baby.